Hey y'all, welcome back to Ascending with Ashley. I'm Ashley, and I am here for a story time. I thought that I would go ahead and share the story of coming into single motherhood and that process that we've been on for the past 4 years. I have a beer, so if you want a beer, get a beer. It's a lot. So I gave birth 4 years ago, almost next week. And there he is, 4, almost. And we were in Los Angeles. I had a free birth at home, just me and his father and him and the animals. And if you want to read or see that story, I made a whole story time about the free birth. Anyway, so that was August 7th, and then my pregnancy and my postpartum, we knew that the marriage wasn't gonna work, and I was trying to figure out what the fuck to do and where to go and how I was gonna do this, which I mentioned in the birthing story. But anyway, so Niall was born, and postpartum was pretty intense. I was very isolated and not very supported. And then I didn't have a car, so we weren't doing anything. I got a stroller, and so like Niall and I would walk around the hood, little hood walks. And then finally in November, so he was born in August. Finally in November, I found a car, and I was able to buy a car. And I actually just realized a few weeks ago when I was watching all of those underbelly stories that the person I bought my car from was a pimp, and I was almost put into a brothel. Anyway, crazy story. I just had this realization about a month and a half ago when he had like said something to me because he knew about me leaving. Anyway, and he was like, oh, I have this house available down here with women, but no men allowed. And then like when I was watching the underbelly, sorry, this is a total tangent, but when I was watching the underbelly interviews of these prostitutes, I was like, oh my God. So anyway, he was a nice guy. I got a car from him. That's what I needed. And she's still kicking, kind of, barely. Anyway, so then that was November. No, I told you can't be in here right now.
Go.
Yes, I said go. Yes, I said go. That's good. Yeah, good job. You're talking. But I still don't want you in here right now. Go. Anyway, so then once I had the car, we would like go to the mall. And so it was 2019. The pandemic wasn't a thing yet. But once we got the car, we would like go out, and you know, the mall was pretty much what we did because it was just easy. I could eat and push him in the stroller, and there were other moms there too. I specifically remember meeting, baby, come on, I got a really long story to tell. I can't have you in here like this. I specifically remember meeting another, newborn mom, and so we like sat in front of Olive Garden and ate our snacks and chatted. It was really sweet. He's up my ass. He's not gonna leave me alone. You need to leave me alone, please. Anyway, so let me just come in here. He usually leaves me alone in here. I'm already PJ'd up. I just took my nighttime shower. Anyway, so I got my car in November, and then we were going to the mall, and I was packing up everything because I knew we were leaving eventually. Oh God, come on, honey. I need you to really give me some space right now. Honey, you're not being very good about giving me space. I don't think I'm asking too much. All right. We are on hour 12 of the day. There has not been a nap. Okay? I don't think I'm asking too much. Here.
Go.
I need you to give me a few minutes, please, because I have a big, long story. There might have to be 2 parts. Anyway. Then I was packing up my apartment, or my stuff, pretty much my whole pregnancy and definitely postpartum. Sorry, I feel weird now that there's so much light. And then I had to go stay with my friend at her dorm, and like took way too much stuff because I'm an overpacker. And then I got kicked out after 3 days. So I'm taking Niall with me. Like, I was trying to get out of the house in that situation. And then so after that, me and Niall went to a hotel for a few days. And all of that made possible by having a car. And then that was in January. And then February, the day before my birthday in February 20th, I got Niall's birth certificate without his father, without him on there. And then I also was able to finalize housing in Prescott, Arizona. So I got a U-Haul hitch installed on my car and rented a 12-foot U-Haul. And baby daddy did help me pack up the U-Haul. He was great. He was like, get the fuck out of here. And then I took the animals and my son and me. And in March, yeah, I think it was for March. We moved in March to a housing situation that was supposed to be really dope. It was going to be 3 mamas with 3 boys, with like 2-year difference, staggered up to like 4 or 5. So Niall was the littlest one, and so I had my Cosmo, my dog, my 2 cats, and Niall, all my shit, in a 12-foot U-Haul. I was breastfeeding on demand, so the trip was only supposed to take about 8 hours. It took us almost 12, because I had to stop, and I don't know how I got up the fucking mountain. The only way to get into Prescott is to either go through Phoenix or take a different side, which is like really hilly and mountainous, and that's the one I chose because that was the one I was more familiar with. And I've never pulled a trailer, so I was pulling a 12-foot trailer on my car with oh my god. Oof. Anyway, so the housing situation in Prescott, we got the master suite. But then like the pandemic was happening. And so the women were actually like the other mothers were like actually trying to make things work with their baby daddies and getting back together and moving and shuffling around. So it wasn't the scenario that it was supposed to be when we signed up for it. And then there was conflict because I just kept us to ourselves because we had the master. We didn't really have to go out. I didn't use the kitchen. I didn't use any really other part of the house. And, then there was conflict about that because they were like, you need to help with chores. And I'm like, those aren't my dishes. I'm not using this space, which actually happened at the second one. And I did stick up for myself because I had the youngest son. He was 8 months at this time, fresh out of in my marriage. Both of these women had baby daddies in town or like in the house. One of them was in the house. So I was like, I'm not going to be doing your dishes. Like, I'm not. And that happened at the second situation as well. We had to pay. So after that situation didn't work, it didn't work for like 3 months. And like I said, people just went crazy when the pandemic happened. And yeah, so that conflict, or that didn't work. So then we had like this moderation and we were trying to figure out, what the problem was. And me and the other woman were both very stubborn and we were like, fuck off, like, no. And I'm like, this isn't, what we set out to do, like, what the fuck. So I was able to, I started looking for apartments, I started looking for houses, I started looking everywhere in the area of Prescott, like even in Cottonwood, which is where we actually ended up before here. And then I found an RV, so I was looking for RVs, whatever. I'm like, I need to get out of this situation. I cannot go back to Los Angeles. And like, it was so close. So I started manifesting an RV or something. I found one in Chino Valley. And then I was like, I have nowhere to put this. I need to find someone with land that will let me like live on their land. Then the people I bought the RV from, excuse me, we're just chaotic over here. The RV was, here, I'm doing something. Okay. Come on. So the RV was from these two sisters, and they like had a different situation, and it was completely, what's the word I'm looking for? I can never find my words. Gutted. It was so gutted, and like I had all this furniture. I just bought this stuff for this master bedroom, you know, shelves, a futon, a fucking mattress. I didn't have a mattress when we first moved to Prescott. We slept on yoga mats the first couple nights. So anyway, I had all this shit now, and I was like, oh my god. And of course I had a master closet in that fucking house, and it was anyway, it's okay. It was an awful situation. So then I was texting everyone I knew in Prescott. I was like, do you know anyone that, you know, checking the RV parks? Then I learned that the RV was too old to park at RV parks, and someone suggested this other woman, and so I messaged her, and like she and I had been in contact in November because she had a shop that was actually closed due to the pandemic. But before that, in November, she had a shop, like a metaphysical shop, and I had reached out to her being like, hey, I'm pretty sure I'm coming to Prescott, and like I would love to collaborate or network with you. I'm a healer as well, blah blah blah. And so we had already connected, and so our mutual friend got us back in contact, and we had like great conversation, and she was like, oh my god, I've been feeling that a baby was going to be in this space. Now these folks were cool at first. Now I'm celibate. I've been celibate since, you know, my first trimester, and I'm like totally rocking celibacy, totally focusing on my shit. And this was a commune of very polyamorous, sexually active, everybody's fucking each other people, right? Which is fine, I don't care. But it got problematic because I didn't engage with it. And like, you know, sometimes there would be like probing questions. Yes, pun intended. You know, and like things like that. And so I was very uncomfortable. Not to mention that they were pagans, which I am as well. I'm a green or white witch, though, I would say, and this person is definitely dabbles in things that I don't. And so she and I had conflict, and she got the men that she was fucking on board with her, and like everybody, like all of a sudden during the Lionsgate portal right after Niall's first birthday there, so we were there for like 3 or 4 months, and then no, it was May, June, July, August, September, 5 months. And like going into it, I had told her like I just moved, like my intention is to stay for like a year if I can, you know, and they were building all these things, and that's where I learned so much about how to be on a homestead and how to be off grid. I learned everything from watching folks and being a part of what they were building, gardening, the fence building that I've, you know, can just do quickly now. I remember I was asking one of the guys, I was like, what are these? What are these? What are, you know, all of these like questions. I knew nothing, and now I can just like, I know exactly how to build a fence. Like, it's easy. But anyway, all that to say is it was, she's a person who liked to have a lot of people over, and I was just very introverted, you know, I'm like healing from this other bad situation. I'm like, ugh, this is so much. Not to mention that like the money I did have was like pretty much gone after buying the RV, like saved. And so, so then after like she kind of freaked out on me, at like one of the stupid weekly community meetings. So I mean, like I learned a lot, and like I'm a crazy person because I really want to do a commune situation, but like it was more like what it was in that situation was like this woman has a mortgage, and she needs help paying for that and building up her property. That's what it felt like. It didn't feel like anything else. And so I'm kind of really trying to totally avoid something like that with what I'm doing. Anyway, it was horrible. But so like we had to pay rent, and we had to do like all these chores, and we had to do like eat communally, and I knew that she had like done stuff to food like as a witch. I don't think I need to elaborate that. But anyway, by the time that situation was almost over, I thought that they were either going to kill Niall or me or kidnap us or something. Like, it was so awful. So I started calling all the RV parks in Arizona, like every single RV park in Arizona north of Prescott. I did not want to go south of Prescott. And I found the one in Cottonwood, and my RV is a 1993. And a lot of RV parks will not take anything older than 2000 now. So this guy, Tony, he just like gave me such a break. He's like, your rig looks fine. And I mean, he was kind of bugging me about it towards the end of when we were leaving. And I'm like, don't worry about it, we're leaving. But anyway, it's, you know, there's all these like, you know, that movie RV. Anyway, so then we were at the RV park in Cottonwood. So for all of those moves, for the move from the Prescott house to the RV, the people I bought the RV from was only like 4 minutes away from this other woman's land where we were living. And so I had found a guy through that mutual friend that hooked me up with her, to help me move it. And he tried to sexually assault me. Awesome. And then, I had to hire someone to pull it, to Cottonwood, which is about an hour and a half through mountains. I mean, everything's mountainous in northern Arizona. Well, everywhere. And then we got to Cottonwood, and we were in Cottonwood for what? October to October. Exactly 2 years. 2 years and like a couple weeks. And we were living at the RV park, and then Cosmo passed away, my dog, and my cat Lucy got knocked up at the RV park. She had 3 kids, and then her kids knocked each other up. So then they had 5 kids. And then my other dog, we had got a new dog right before the baby kittens came. So it was crazy. The RV park was crazy. So anyway, then we had to move. Well, no, not then. While we were at the RV park, I decided to buy land. And I looked everywhere for land, and I found land up here. I'm not going to give exact area because safety. Well, actually, I do talk about this, whatever. We found land up here. We are in northern Arizona, about 4 hours away from where we were in Cottonwood. And I had to move the RV. I know I talked a little bit about this when we moved to the to our land, but so I bought land in 2021 with a stimulus check. And the land I got an acre, 1.33 acres for, with the filing and county fees and everything, it was under $1,200. So that's completely, you know, no septic, no well, no nothing, no hookups, no nothing. So that's where our RVs are, and then I accumulated another RV while we were at the RV park, because my friends got evicted, and they moved into an apartment, so then they were going to sell their RV, and I'm like, well, I'll buy it, so that worked out. So we have 2 RVs on our land. We do have septic now as well. Still have to figure out the water situation, but I'm kind of holding off because of everything happening right now, even though it feels like that would be the time to do it. I'm not sure. We're only about 2.5 miles away from where other people have hookups, so I'm kind of teetering on the idea of either hooking up or getting a well, and I don't know what that would look like cost-wise, and I don't have the money for it, so I haven't even looked into it. But anyway, then we got stuck in the mud, so we moved to our off-grid land. I had to hire a guy. And that was, you know, another sexually assaulting almost from Craigslist. I don't know what these men think. Like I put an ad that I'm going to pay you, and they like expect a blowjob. And then when I'm like, no, they're like, oh, I can't help you. Like, what the fuck? That happened like 3 times trying to find this driver. So I finally found this great guy, Doug. And then my friend Bill helped me as well. He pulled my house. We rented a U-Haul truck, and he pulled my trailer. Which, and then we had to hire Doug to pull the 5th wheel, because the RV I bought was a 5th wheel. The one that we lived in was a trailer pull. Anyway, so when this construction company did the septic tank on our land, they tried to use a road that I had already studied the map, and like that was one of the reasons I chose our plot. And they wouldn't, there's cows and cattle, so the cattle ranchers were like, no, you can't bring your equipment through here. There's, you know, gates and stuff. And so we were going 12 to 15 miles out of the way to get to my land off grid. And that's what killed my car. It was so stressful. Every time we had to fucking come into town, and it was way more often than I anticipated. We had to get a hotel. We were getting hotels so much when we first moved off grid. My car was like freaking out. Like his dad came to help me. But like our move off grid had been moved up 4 days, so he like wasn't here, like it overlapped, so I had to move us alone and then drive to Flagstaff the next day after we moved. But the streets that we had to take to get those RVs onto the land, and the street or the road, the country road that I was taking to get to my land, there's a road that we found when my car got stuck in mud, and I know I'm jumping all over the place. What are you doing? But at Christmas time this past year, here, you need to please give me some space. Baby, I don't know why. I just ask you for space, and you're not giving me any. It's not fair, okay? I give you space when you want space. Here. Thank you. Please give me a few more minutes. You've interrupted this several times now. Enough. Anyway, so it took like over 2 hours to get to our plot because we were using this other road, and then that road totally killed my car. Or me driving it because I wasn't used to the roads killed my car. But regardless, that's a lot of what happened. Then Christmas time, Niall's dad came, and he had to get back into town to go to a train, and it just like landed on a day that there was a rainstorm. So it's all dirt, sand, dirt and sand. Okay, it's the desert out there. So we got stuck in the mud trying to get him into town to get back to LA after holiday, and the car got stuck in the mud, and then we had to walk 2.5 miles back to our land in the freezing fucking cold. I had to carry Niall. I had all this luggage because we were gonna stay at a hotel when we got into town. He had his stuff because he was like going back, so we had to leave my car out there. And I know a couple mechanics in town because my car sucked after the road, so I've been having issues. I like had a flat and batteries and a whole bunch of issues. So my only friends in town really are mechanics. Well, I've got a few more now. So I was texting and calling both of them like while we were out there, and they're like, we can't come get you, like it's crazy out there, it's like sludge, like anybody's gonna get stuck right now. So we just had to go back to the homestead, to the RV. It was horrible. It took like 2.5 hours to walk it was awful. And then the next day we had to wake up and walk 2.5 miles the other direction to have one of the guys come and get us. And then I realized that the other person I needed to call was the guy that like had changed my tire. And I'm like, he can help me, because the other guy was like being kind of funny with Niall's dad in town. Anyway, you know how it is. So I called this other guy and I'm like, hey, and me and Niall, I was like, I need to stay at a hotel for like at least 3 days. Thank you. So me and Niall in Woodstock, and you know, the kiddies were just out there suffering. Anyway, we stayed at a hotel a couple days, and then Keith took me to get my car. And on the way to get my car, he was like, I have a 1-bedroom apartment or a 1-bedroom house in town. He like owns a whole bunch of properties. He's like, he's like, this offer is only gonna stand for this week. Like, let me know. And I was very hesitant or reluctant at first because it just seemed like, what? Like, that doesn't just happen, you know? And, amazing deal. No contract, no credit checks, nothing, no paperwork. Like, yeah, I signed a lease, but nothing else. And so when he was like cabling up my car, I called my mom and I was like, guess what he just said to me? And she was like, this is a fucking wish come true. I've been praying. And so anyway, then I accepted his offer, and I gave him like a $50 tip or key deposit in addition to towing my car. And then I packed up the things that we would need immediately, got everything ready for the cats. And me, Niall, and Woodstock made one trip, and then we went back and got the cats. One of the cats wouldn't fucking come. So this all just happened in January. The rest of that was like years ago. And then, so Lola wouldn't come, so I had to go back and get Lola. And then my mom was like coming, so my mom and I went, and I had gone one other time. And Lola wasn't coming, and then Woodstock ran away while we were out there that day. Oh my god, it was crazy. And so Woodstock had so Woodstock ran away in the desert a couple times. He came back, but man, this dog, I tell you, this man is ugh. Anyway, so now we are in this house. It finally feels like a home now that I've been able to buy like a lot of stupid shit from Temu, and like bring my personality, because I left so much of my stuff on the homestead. And then my mom was just here again in July, and we went up there and got some more valuable stuff that I had to leave last time, that I've been just like sitting on for 6 months, like, oh god, what's up going on up there? And everything was fine when we went up there. So I have all of these different spaces. Shit hasn't worked out. I think like ultimately I've learned so much about what not to do. I don't feel confident opening like a community space yet, but all this to say is like, if this is what I went through, that was a lot, but like it wasn't as much as like a lot of other women have had to go through. I don't have to work, so I haven't had to find jobs. I work at home, and but I don't have to go in anywhere, and we are so privileged for that. And I'm a stay-at-home full-time mom with Niall, which is hard as fuck, right? Like totally hard work, but I do not have to work, luckily, gratefully. And so I'm putting all of my energy into building this homestead, because women need, like, I think the one thing that was like so astonishing and what baffled me the most was that these other two women that had these housing situations, like were single mothers at one point, and like had baby daddy shit, you know, different baby daddies, or had understood the single mother struggle. And so for me, it was just so shocking to have so much conflict come up. There wasn't, you know, and I wasn't right, and I wasn't fully, you know, I'm not a total victim or anything, but I stood my fucking ground, and I'm like, hell no. Like, I was trying to be taken advantage of immensely in both of those situations, and I'm like, my capacity, I can't do that with my capacity. I just can't, like I can't, like some of the things, you know, I did as much as I could, but there was some stuff that they were just like expecting, and I'm like, I don't have that capacity. I'm a mother to a like little itty bitty baby. He can't even walk yet, at that point. So anyway, this is why I'm doing this work for the homestead, because it is so fucking hard to be a single mother. It's hard to break up with anybody, but much less leaving a situation knowing that you are a single mother, you know? And so I want this space that I'm building to be a place of refuge. And I don't know exactly how it's going to pan out and work out so that it's not a lot of conflict. And I won't know that until there's other people involved. You know what I mean? So my hope and my wishes are that we can get this going and we can build this space, because my God, sometimes you just need a fucking safe space to be like, and that's why it's called the Home Free Homestead, you know, home free, almost there. Like, this is the biggest first step, you know, like this is your first step to refuge for you and your children, to safety. Eventually I see us being involved with lawyers and having other people and other, like, I see networks happening, and there are other women across the country that are also trying to build some single mother stuff. And so I've been in contact with a few women about making networks of, like, we could have a directory where, you know, a woman can find whichever one is closest to her. And if there's a space available, or if there's not a space available. So anyway, we're working on that with a couple other women. But, like, right now the struggle is just so much. Like, everything is fucking insane that, like, all these other mothers are still having to do their own thing too, you know? And, like, so yes, we want to build this stuff, and yes, we want to have a space that women can come to, and not just one space, but so many of us have this yearning and longing for this. And it's because the patriarch that exists and the misogyny that exists within women, you know, are, like, it's just, it was crazy. I could not believe how unfair other women who understood the single mother struggle were, excuse me. So, all that to say is that's been the past 4 years. I probably could have expounded on a couple things, but I have no bad blood with anybody. I see it as every step. Like, I wasn't ready to mother alone when we left LA. So I'm grateful that I had other people around me. Even if there were conflicts, there weren't always conflicts. You know, it wasn't always like that. There were spaces that it was really peaceful and really awesome and really, I learned so much about so many things. I'm not crying, I'm sweating. It's so fucking hot. And so I feel like for me, it was just each step was a progression. And then when we were in Cottonwood and we did have the RV, I finally started opening back up to people and making friends. And I've made really, really good friends. And so it was very sad to leave them, but we talk all the time. And it's just really, like, Cottonwood was so good for me to really reaffirm my faith in humanity. I was cared for by community. And that's what I really want to do up here. And we're setting roots up here. We have land up here. And so I'm not in too big of a hurry because I know, but I'm also in a hurry because I know, like, it's fucking hard. And you know, I'm reaching out with these things and finding more people who are aligned and have the same desires or yearnings or callings. So if that's you, please email me. We're gonna build some shit, you know? Or if you yourself have anything available or any way that you want to support any of the work, I'm gonna go ahead and put the GoFundMe below in the description box. I think our next big priority is the water situation. And then once that's figured out, then we'll be able to invite other people to the land, and then we'll be able to build stuff up. But until water's there, it's just not a good idea. So, yeah, that is the story of my journey into single motherhood and how it's been. So cheers. The spider. Okay, I'm gonna let you go. Have a good one. Ew, where did that come from?